All right, so welcome back, guys. We are going to be talking all about entrepreneurship today. Jennifer has been an entrepreneur for many years now, and she has been a huge catalyst for my own entrepreneurship journey with going full time. Like, I don't think I would be having this conversation right now if you didn't enter my life. So,
oh my goodness.
I mean, pressure's on, girl. No. But we were just chatting about, Jennifer gets a lot of people who ask her, how do I start a business and all these things, and I have people ask me all the time, how do I do what you do on Instagram, which technically is being an entrepreneur, and talking about the mindset that you really need to adopt in order to be successful and have that staying power. I think that piece, it's not even like you gotta have the best idea. You know what I mean? To start your business.
Not at all.
You don't even have to have something original.
No.
You know what I mean?
You sure don't.
Yeah, I think it's more you gotta have that mindset piece.
You have to have the mindset. You have to believe in yourself. You have to bet on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That is the one thing my husband says. You have to be willing to bet on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally agree, because becoming an entrepreneur is not what people think it is.
No.
You probably are going to work harder
Yes.
than if you went to a 9-to-5 job.
Yes.
It's not like you could just walk away from your cubicle
Mm-mm.
on Friday, turn off your laptop,
Mm-hmm.
and just like, okay, I'm gonna enjoy the moment, I'm gonna enjoy the weekend. A lot of times when you're starting off as an entrepreneur, you're gonna work 7 days a week, and you're gonna hustle and you're gonna grind.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully you have the right partner that understands that, or they're doing it with you, because it's a lot of work, you guys. It's not easy, it's not for the faint of heart.
No.
But if you have a passion in something and you really believe in the service and or product you're creating,
Mm-hmm.
then I highly encourage you to do it. I mean, there's nothing more rewarding than creating something from the ground up and watching it grow.
Mm. It's like a baby.
It is a baby,
Mm-hmm.
completely.
Yeah.
And then when you're able to employ people
Yes.
and help them provide their livelihood
Yes, that
and for
part.
their family, it's an amazing feeling.
It is. I think that empowerment piece of you're able to create a change in your own household, but then also knowing, at least for me, affecting others, whether
Yes.
it's through my service
Yes.
or by making money and then paying other individuals to help me, if that makes sense. I mean,
Totally.
because to me, and that's how I see money as this energy.
And it just flows.
It just flows.
As it should.
So I can, this kind of goes back to another episode, but I can be open to receiving that energy, and then I can also feel great when I give it away.
Yes.
It's not like from the scarcity mindset, like, oh, where's it going to come in again? You know what I mean? And if you're going into entrepreneurship feeling that way, which I totally was, you probably aren't ready. You probably aren't ready, because you may not know all the time where all of that's going to come from. Unless you have a very good, clean plan. Because the plan can change. That's the other thing,
Always.
because it's all on you. You don't have
Yeah.
this corporate entity perhaps behind you that
Nope.
says you're in this box, in this role. This is all that you're going to do. You might be the marketing, you might be your PR, you might be the sales team,
You might be the receptionist.
you might be the receptionist, you're the design team.
You're going to be everything.
Everything. And obviously the goal is to grow, because you
Yeah.
can't do everything.
No, you cannot.
You
do
can't.
everything.
But starting out, you might be a lot of things.
Yeah, you're going to wear a lot of different hats when you're starting out, and you may not even be comfortable in that.
No.
You know? You might be like, I don't feel comfortable talking or doing a presentation, and you wish you could hire somebody to do that, but you don't have the funds to do it yet, so you're going to have to step out of your box.
Yep. Put
So
yourself out
if
there.
you're not willing to be uncomfortable, I would not become an entrepreneur.
I agree. Yeah, I don't. Like you said, it is not for the faint of heart. And again, I don't think it necessarily means you have to be willing to do everything, because you can go into it saying, well, no, I'm going to hire out these things. Like,
Yes.
this is going to be part of my business expenses, and that's totally fair.
That is
But at the same time, like, you've got to be flexible. You've got to be quick. You've got to be
That's true.
on your toes and ready to seize opportunity. I also feel like.
Yeah.
You were talking about earlier about, with your experience, if you were to advise anyone, they should start out doing sales. Learn skills on how to show up confident for my business without calling it sales, but it was sales. Like that's what it was at the end of the day.
People just don't like that word.
I think
always
so.
Think of like a salesperson as like a greasy, trying to get over.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good.
Yeah, but I do think that's an important trait that you've got to be your biggest cheerleader.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and honestly, I think Elon Musk someone had said, what would you say to an entrepreneur who didn't believe in themselves or something to that effect? And he would say, I would tell them, don't even continue, don't even bother.
Don't bother.
Yeah.
You gotta be, you have to bet on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And when everyone's against you, and you will have that.
Yeah.
You will have family, you will have friends, you're crazy, you're gonna leave a good job, you make a good salary, you have a family, what are you thinking? You're gonna have all of
Or
that.
there's so many other people who are doing it, this already exists, blah, 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 blah. Like, who are you to, show? I mean, these are the things you might even be telling yourself about why you shouldn't show up.
Yeah, I think I've definitely done that.
Right, like, the space is already crowded, blah, 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 blah. But it all goes back to, you've got to believe in yourself and the value and the service that you can provide. And that, I mean, look, there's so many rappers. There's so many singers. There's so many fast food places. There's there's Coca-Cola, there's Pepsi's, Dr. Pepper, all these, you know what I mean? But they're all these soft drinks, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But there's flavors for everybody.
There's restaurants.
You know what I mean?
There's a million restaurants.
Right. You know what I mean? I mean, just imagine if people just said, I'm not gonna try. Like, imagine what could happen if you did try.
Yeah. I mean,
it's so much easier to just say I'm not going to do it.
This is the fear.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Mm.
Fear. That is the biggest enemy of most people is their fear.
It is. My dad always says fear, I'm sure you've heard this, false evidence appearing real.
Yes.
And I think that acronym is like spot on.
Spot on.
It is. And that false evidence, again, could come from outside people, or a lot of it for me comes internal.
Internal, okay.
Like I'll psych myself out. I'm fortunate I have a really good support system.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, you can do whatever you want, Mallory, and all these other things. And I'm so fortunate to have that. I'll usually talk myself out of something. That's just
why?
Fear. Imposter
not
syndrome.
Believing in yourself.
Not believing.
Not understanding you are the creator and you have the power.
Right. And that confidence piece. And I think confidence requires exercising. And I think sales, going back to what you said, sales allows you to exercise that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Because I remember working in the fashion industry and I could have went into sales at a company and I was like, and I remember the conversation with my boss. I was like, are you crazy?
Mm-hmm.
I need to know how much I'm making every month. I cannot have that uncertainty. I need to know how much I can spend and what I go to my bills. But this is how small I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And he was looking at me like, okay, you didn't understand that concept, so.
Never mind.
But eventually I became a sales rep to a point where I was literally commission only.
Mm-hmm.
And evolved into that. I started off with getting, what was it called? A draw. Okay, and then I started with a job where you get a percentage of what you sell. And then eventually it was
100%.
100% commission.
Right.
All on me, every day. No bosses calling me every day. Did you go to your accounts? Did you do this? Did
It's
you do
all
that?
on you to show up. And that's what it's like being an entrepreneur.
And that's
Like, you've
exactly
got to show
what
up
it's
for
like.
your business.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
That's what made me go
And-
into what I become one.
And you have the power to decide your schedule and what that looks like and what that time and energy you want to put into that.
Yeah.
And that's different for everyone. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to work.
Yes.
You're going to have to work. And again, I think for me at least, doing that work is pouring back into myself. Like, no, you got this. Sales seems like such a nasty word for some people.
It does.
You know, but I do think, at least for me, learning how to sell provided so much confidence in me. So I wasn't afraid to show up for myself and my business.
And I think sales is going to teach you a level of discipline.
Ooh, yeah.
If you are completely a commission-only salesperson, and there's different salespeople, you can get thrown into a territory that is already has built-in clients, Or you could be given a territory that nobody's ever even seen your product or service, and you're walking in blind. And that's a whole different experience too. But it's going to teach you discipline. It's going to teach you how to structure your day, how to plan stuff, how to handle rejection.
Oh, that's a big one.
Oh yeah, because if you can't fail as an entrepreneur, do not become an entrepreneur. Because a lot of times you're going to fail before you succeed. And
You're going to hear a lot of no's. You're going to have a lot of no's.
But a lot of businesses, I mean, listen, my husband and I, we invest in a ton of businesses. And we lose a lot of money because we invest in a ton of businesses. Now imagine if that was the one business we tried to put all of our money into and it failed.
No, that's true. That's true.
So you have to be willing to fail as an entrepreneur.
I agree.
And it's going to teach you.
I mean, I've heard this saying before, scared money don't make money.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I
it's
mean?
energy, like you said.
Yeah, and you have to be afraid to fail. One girl that I spoke to on the podcast before, she runs a social media agency, and the way that she operates is, how many no's I can get? How do I add up all the no's? Because I know I'm going to get this many yeses. For her, it's worked out to be like a ratio. Like, it's like almost a competition.
Oh.
I'm going to get this many no's.
And then I'm going to get a
I
yes.
know I'm going to get this many yeses.
I like that.
I love the way that she approached that. Like, it becomes, I have to keep putting myself out there.
Yeah.
Because
So
I
I got
know.
10 no's today, but I know number 11 is going to be a yes.
Right. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kind of switching your mindset from that negativity to these opportunities. You know? I loved how, when she shared that, I was like, what? I need to start thinking about it that way.
True. And that's what sales are. And when you're doing sales, they're going to say that. You're going to hear 100 no's before you finally hear that one yes. And then once you get that yes, the energy, the happiness, the joy that you're going to feel is going to transcend. And then you're going to get like 5 yeses in a row. It's crazy. And you're like, oh, wow, that is so true. And then you're going to go back onto the no. And then it'll start becoming less no's as time goes on.
No, it definitely is. I mean, and you have to recognize people have choices. I mean, there's gas stations on every corner. People are making a choice to go somewhere else and, you know, here or there, whatever. So you're not meant for everyone, and that's okay. But your audience is out there. You just have to have that staying power and that willpower to find that audience, to find your clients, to find the people who need your product and find your service. You got to be smart about it. You got to be willing to do the ads, or, you know what I mean? Find the people who are going to help you. You know, maybe you need to hire a sales team. You know what I mean? You've just make those calculated risks.
Yes.
I guess you could say those strategic risks, as opposed, again, you know, that scared money don't make money.
And it takes money
To make money. Yeah, that's true.
That's the biggest thing. And
Yeah.
people are like, okay, what do I do there? Come on. and talk
Yeah,
about
I'm excited to dig into that because I think people definitely have a misconception in terms of, because that's one thing that I think people get hung up on is,
that. I don't have the money.
I don't have the money, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
to me, even before the money piece, you've got to have the right mindset. Because
Oh,
again,
absolutely.
people are gonna knock you down. People are gonna say no.
Oh, they're going to say that.
They're gonna say no.
Your own family's going to knock you down.
Mhm.
Your friends,
Mhm.
they're going to be like, you're crazy.
Yep.
What do you mean?
Yep.
Some of it's out of hate.
Yeah.
Because they're jealous because they're not willing to do
No,
it.
and some of it is
It's
'cause
genuine.
it's genuine because it's unknown for them. Everyone's not meant to be an entrepreneur, and that's okay.
No, it totally is okay.
I think you have to make a conscious decision that you're going to embark on this journey. You know, that it can't be something you dabble and just dip your toe in my opinion.
That's a hobby.
Yes, yes, and people have expensive hobbies.
Yes, they do. That's so true.
Yeah, people have expensive hobbies, so I think you just have to be willing to be patient with yourself, with the process, with the journey, and have that staying power within you.
Within you, yeah.
That's
Because you
really
can always
all.
change your business ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could go down a path and you see, okay, this isn't quite what I thought it was going to be.
Mhm.
There isn't a need for it right now. You could pivot. You know, maybe you see something else along the way. There's a gap. There's a need in your community. Don't be afraid to change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't get so stuck in, I have to do this, I have to do it this way, and this is how I started.
No.
Be fluid, be
Yeah, I
flexible.
love that. Be
You know what
fluid.
I mean? And just kind of go with it, but keep your drive
Mhm.
and
Be consistent,
be
show up.
consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, show up and be consistent for a season.
Yeah.
You know, if you're experimenting,
Yeah.
measure it, get the data. Okay, this worked, this didn't work, or measure your feelings. I didn't like any of that. That was annoying the entire process.
Yeah.
Not necessarily uncomfortable, annoying, or it's too tedious or whatever. So how can you make it easier, or is this something that's just off the table moving forward? You know what I mean?
Let's talk about the people that are at work, because you normally don't realize you want to become an entrepreneur until you're working for a company and you're getting paid well,
Yeah.
right? And then you're like, yeah, I want to take more than a 2-week vacation.
Whew. Right?
Yeah, I'm working hard, and a lot of people work hard for a company.
Yeah.
You know, and bless those people.
Absolutely.
And hopefully you're working for a company where the person takes care of you.
Yes.
Seriously.
That's
'Cause,
important.
yeah, like, that's a whole other topic we'll talk about later. But what would you tell that person who is working a job, who has an idea, who wants to become an entrepreneur, but can't quite take
Make that, get that first step?
Yeah.
Ooh, you know, I would say begin with the end in mind. Think about how you want your life to look like.
Okay.
If you could dismantle all of these things you think your life is supposed to look like, you know, and being in this box, this role that you currently have, think about the possibilities, if that makes sense, and dream big. Like, think of those big, hairy dreams.
Yep.
And then start working backwards. And I know that sounds kind of, what's the word that I'm looking for? Fleety, or it's not tangible, but at least for me, that's kind of where I was at. I knew what was possible with my job. Does that make sense? It was already defined.
Yes.
And so, okay, I can work this job. I'm probably going to retire. I'm going to work really hard in this job until I retire. And hopefully have enough to retire and be comfortable. Or I can start enjoying things now, work and do things that I actually enjoy doing, you know, work that's fulfilling and that I know that's going to transform other people's lives, simultaneously transform mine, and start living the life that I dream of in retirement. Does that make sense? Like,
Totally.
Like, why do I have to wait till then?
But I think even more important is you were already part-time working on your business.
I was.
While working your full-time job.
I was. And honestly, my job became a means to help me get there. I'm very big.
Use some of that money to fund.
Absolutely. I'm thankful for my job. I honestly didn't have a bad job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My job allowed me to flex some skills
Yes.
that have been imperative to my business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I started looking for opportunities for things within my job that could help me enrich my business. You know? So for me, you got to play the long game.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, it's so important.
Yeah.
Even if you are working a 40-hour work week and you believe in your service and or product that you're going to sell, we're not saying go quit your job and just become a full-time entrepreneur.
No.
You want to start every evening, every weekend investing in you. And yes, it's going to be exhausting. This is where we get into you're going to be tired.
That means you might need to hire help, by the way.
Right.
And having a job, and this is why I don't knock people with a job. Having a job, you can then hire people.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Use some of that income.
You can use some of that income and get some of those systems in place before you make that leap.
Right. And so I think that's where a lot of people get stuck. They're thinking, well, I can't leave this job and just go start something. No, you don't have to.
Yeah.
You can do both and use the money from your current job to help fund your dream. Your dream. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? There's not. And honestly, it's good to have somewhat of a safety net so that if you mess up on something, you still have this income coming in. You know, you still have this paycheck. Honestly, the best time to start your business is probably when you already have income coming in. You know what I mean? So as I was saying, again, some people will knock you for having a job. Like some people, it sounds sexy and exciting to jump up and leave. You know what I mean? And the reality of it is, unless you don't have a family to provide or you don't have any bills, and that's totally fine if that's you. but the reality is a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing wrong, again, for leveraging your 9 to 5 to get to where you really want. Because again, if you make a mistake, at least you do have the safety net. But you do have to have that discipline, that perseverance,
Yes.
that mindset that this is a means to an end. Like there's an end game to all of this. Like this isn't
Gonna be forever.
right.
It's
And
just
that's okay.
It's a certain time frame
Right.
that you're using where you're at to get to where you want to go.
It's a means to an end.
Exactly.
And that's okay.
Yes.
I know it might not sound sexy and fun, but
It's not. It's gonna be work because
And-
it's gonna be you working after work, and then it's gonna be working on the weekend.
right, setting aside maybe a whole weekend or just a day to knock out what you need to get done, and that requires discipline. That requires sacrifice, and
Yep.
that
Sabotage. So yeah, you're not gonna be able to go to the party or the
No.
barbecue, and if you're with a significant other who doesn't understand what your vision is, they may feel like they're not a priority or they're being neglected.
or friends and family. I've even had some family members who were like, "You're always working on your business," and it's just like you do not understand
Yeah.
this path,
Yeah.
and it's not meant for everyone to understand, and
It's
that's
definitely
okay.
not. But then
It-
when you make it, then it's like, oh,
How? How are you doing
I want to
this?
be able to do this too. No,
They-
you don't.
They all want the end result because end result looks so
Fabulous.
yeah,
But it's really
and the work still continues.
Oh.
That's the other thing.
You gotta maintain. Now you have to maintain what you got going
that's
on.
a whole different. That's like the whole different level.
It's one thing
Starting
to
is
just
one thing.
stay
Yeah.
where you're at, right?
Mm.
But no, then you make more money, you get a bigger house,
Mm.
and then you get more cars,
Mhm.
and then you have this and that, and then you're like, now you got to maintain all that. So
Scaling is a whole different beast. I feel like we should talk about that because I feel like I could ask you for even where I'm at because I'm attempting to scale and take things to the next level.
Mm.
Like I'm definitely thankful for where I'm at, but I'm like, I got other things that I want to do, and that's going to
Yeah.
require a different level of me.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
But at the same time, I don't want to force the process. So that's a whole different conversation.
that is that is all. But that's good because that means you're growing
Right.
and you're evolving. And yeah, then you have to know when it's the next step. When do you
Mhm.
start actually bringing on more people?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a whole other beast. But yeah,
It is.
it's a good thing.
But I think that people, again, they just see the end result. I mean, I'm sure you have people coming up to you all the time, like, I want to do all these things, and just,
Well, my husband does for sure.
and they want you to just copy and paste and give them the template, and it's not one size fit all. Am I wrong?
Oh,
At least what I'm finding with my coaching clients, they all have different businesses, and I cannot coach them on the same things. There's some overlapping similarities,
Right.
but every
there's business basics,
Yeah.
like you said before, operations,
Yeah.
marketing, sales, business basics.
Mm-hmm.
But then yes, you have some businesses need more marketing, some
Right.
need more operational stuff. So totally, yeah.
And every individual's different. You know what I
Yes.
mean? In terms of what they can give and what season they're in.
Mhm.
You know?
Mhm.
So, yeah, I really don't think it's a one size fits all. I think it's all just adopting a mindset that I have the ability to make this whatever I want this to be.
Correct.
And I'm in it to do it. You know,
Yes.
despite I might have this job, or I might have debt, or I might have these bills, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I have the power to overcome that and the willpower to keep pressing forward.
Yeah.
I think perseverance is a big one.
Oh, man. Yeah.
And I
it's-
love how you said discipline, because I think
Definitely.
perseverance requires discipline.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do one without the other.
Yeah, you're gonna have to have perseverance because there's gonna be some really hard times.
You're going to be
ahead.
tested a lot.
A lot. And you're gonna be like, why am I doing this again? Especially if you're a person who was making really good money in a job.
Mhm, mhm.
You know?
Before I left my job, I was asked to stay 3 times. 3 times.
Yeah.
I was tested. And I entertained it, I'm not gonna lie. They started putting all kinds of attractive
Numbers,
things,
and bonuses.
yeah, in front of me, and it just became, what do you really want? You know what I mean?
Is it about
And-
the money or is it
Right.
about the passion?
Exactly. And it's such a gift as an entrepreneur if you're able to operate in your passion, because I do recognize a lot of individuals, it's about the money, you know, and that's not a knock. It's not a knock. But I'm thankful I'm able to make money from my passion. I know that's not.
It's easier to have perseverance and drive and
Mm.
mindset when it's a passion. When it's just about the money, I think some stuff just gets lost along the way. And
agree.
it's so easy to just throw your hands up and be like, forget it. And then also you wake up every day joyful.
Yeah,
and you're
excited.
just out there chasing the dollar.
Yeah.
That becomes a grind.
And that's so true, because I know for me, I have no regrets. Like my dad asked me recently, like, so you ever think about how you left, not how you left your job? You ever think about going back?
You're like,
No. And that's no offense to anyone who's still there, you know what I mean? But for me, I wake up every single day excited about my business. Like, oh, I gotta do this. Like, that angst isn't there. There's unknowns, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
There's like moments where I'm like, I don't know if I should have did that, or
Right.
what the hell am I,
Right.
what hold on, let's get back to what we were really working on, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, like, I go to bed, sometimes I have a hard time going to bed.
Because you're so excited.
I'm just so excited, right? Or I wake up like ready to hit it.
Yeah.
And I feel lit up. You could probably say I'm probably in still the honeymoon phase, maybe. I don't know. Is there a honeymoon phase that goes away with this?
No, because I think you've been doing this a while.
I have. I
Even
know
though
I
you
have.
weren't doing it on a full-time
Right.
basis, you were still working on your business.
Absolutely. No, and I think about that sometimes, because I'm like, even though I'm now doing it full time, it feels amazing. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing that I've been able to choose myself and choose my business on a daily basis in terms of how I spend my time and how that provides for my family and how that has such yielding benefits for so many other things, or far-reaching benefits. But I was just wondering, with you having done this for so long, is there like, I'm sure you still have your moments where you're frustrated with certain things, obviously, because everything doesn't always go your way.
Absolutely not.
I mean, yeah.
Absolutely not. Oof.
I mean, pandemics happen, for instance, and things just shut down. So those are some things like out of your control.
Totally out of your control.
Yeah.
Nothing you can do. But I think about the people whose life, that's their whole life.
I know.
It's like they owned a restaurant and then they get shut down and they
Yeah.
can't even serve. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
It's like a lot of our businesses were still going during the pandemic.
Mhm.
Thank goodness.
I know.
So we didn't have those same issues. I think
My
one restaurant
business
had
flourished. I had to turn people away. I was still working too.
Yeah.
And it was just like, what? And I know other people, very similar situations, but again, that's just different for everyone. And that's not anyone who wants to do a restaurant. I love going out to eat.
Yeah.
But I think those are also some things to think about, is how can you differentiate yourself in your service or be pandemic proof?
Yeah, how do you pivot if
Yeah.
they shut everything down again?
Yeah, we're going to be doing delivery and we're going to do that so damn well.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
deliver food to your house.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
People
a good
still
point.
need food. People don't want to cook all the time
Well,
in the
people-
pandemic.
People were doing the DoorDash
Yeah.
and the Uber Eats.
Yeah.
I mean, you just couldn't go in the restaurant.
No.
But they still were doing delivery.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy. Again, just with where I'm at in my life, I just encourage people. I get it. Everybody wants money. I understand. Would I ever want to go back to being broke? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that at all. But if you can do what makes you happy, do that.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, even if you do have a super successful business, it's still going to be knocking at the door. You're going to be like, I got to find what makes me joyful. Even with millions of dollars in the bank. And people are going to look at you crazy and be like, what do you got to worry about? You can pay your bills. You ain't got nothing to worry about. And you're sitting there like, I'm not joyful.
Yeah.
So-
No, and to me, joy is so much more everlasting than happy. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
totally.
Like, you can be
Because happy's fleeting.
happy is so, and I say that all the time, like, happy is such a fleeting emotion.
Oh, God.
It really is. But joy, that has everlasting benefits. And I mean, you could be in grief, but still have joy. Like,
Right.
I'm joyful that I'm alive. You understand what I mean? Or I'm filled with so much joy that I had this experience with someone that no longer is here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not like about smiling, and I know we're going off on a tangent, but I think it's so important that if you're going to become an entrepreneur, you find that joy piece.
Yes.
And that really becomes an anchor for you to keep going.
An anchor.
You know what I mean? Like when
An
you feel
anchor.
lost,
Yes.
that pulls you back down. And not that you want to be slow. I mean, sometimes you got to slow down a little bit. You got to come back to the ground to really move back up. And I'm sure we've all seen those charts where they say success looks like this. Like everyone thinks it's like this, but it's more like this. And, and that anchor, that joy piece, I think really centers you and helps push you to that next step.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
So I don't know. I don't know for you, but for me, entrepreneurship has become like this journey of self-awareness. It's really become like this whole journey that I was not expecting. I thought it was a journey to make my money. But it's become
learning so much more.
I know. I'm like, this is not what I thought I was signing
But I love that.
I do too.
I love that
Yeah.
because when you do make all the money that you're gonna make, you're gonna be so ready.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's not even gonna be funny.
And I think that's why I just also feel so thankful for this journey. And I think that going back to what you said, you know, with having that sales piece, that confidence piece also becomes part of that joy. Like you gotta love yourself. You gotta have that joy within you.
Yeah.
Because you can't expect that money to create that joy. You can't expect that job to create that joy. You can't expect other people, your clients, your spouse, or whatever. That joy's gotta come from inside of you.
Well, yeah, that's definitely for the people that are working. You're getting a check.
Right?
You're paying all your bills. And something you're not fulfilled.
Right. Something ain't right. Something's missing.
That's why you're stepping out and trying to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah. So many people, again, just think it's like this sexy thing, but it's a spiritual.
It gets there. It will get to the sexy.
I think it has sexy moments.
It does. When you're sitting on the yacht.
Right. I think it has sexy moments.
You know, and you got that chef cooking for you.
Girl,
that's a sexy moment. And you bring your friends and your family
that's
along,
a sexy moment.
And they get to experience something that they may not have ever been able to experience before. Those are really cool things that you can do when you have money. And you could create the experience for others.
I agree.
So yeah.
I love that.
Just remember, you are the creator of your life.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Entrepreneur, you want to work for a company, you want to be vice president, president of a company, whatever the case may be. Get up every day, give gratitude, and have some joy. Find your joy.
Find your joy. It's not about chasing the money. Find your joy.
Yeah. That's what I want to try to get across to people. It's not about the money.
No.
It's so much.
And that ends up just being a byproduct, honestly.
Right?
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But I also understand not having money and being like, I can't even pay my bills.
Right.
So what you talking about?
Find the joy.
Yeah.
But that's where you get creative with your time and you find those moments and you create that time. I don't know if you've heard of this book called The Big Leap. And this was a big.
I have heard of it.
Okay, it's a really good book. Could be a little stale. Sorry I think his name's Gay Hendricks, but I listened to it on Audible. But it was profound to my journey. And one piece about it was time and how you are time.
Yes.
And that's one thing that I hear from new entrepreneurs, those who are still working their job and becoming an entrepreneur. So the time thing doesn't go away, by the way.
No.
It
There's
gets
still only 24 hours in a day.
So even when you make the leap to full-time entrepreneurship, time is still ticking, right? But you have so much power in terms of how you control that time. And so that goes back to that sacrifice piece. You know, you make those sacrifices early on so you can open up more time later, you know? And you have to be willing to do that. And understand that there's a bigger thing happening here. Like you're working towards a bigger goal.
Oh my God, I just saw something on Instagram. It was a story.
What?
It was saying people sacrifice, oh man, I'm gonna mess this up completely, but it had to do with time. Because they want something in the now, they sacrifice what they really want in the future.
Oh yeah.
And I know I'm totally messing that up.
No,
but
that
so
makes sense.
Good. It was so good.
Self-sabotage is real. Yeah.
Becoming an entrepreneur, becoming successful, you're going to sacrifice. And it may be 1 year, it may be 5 years. Are you willing to sacrifice that amount of time?
Mhm.
That's what you need to ask yourself.
No, willing to make that sacrifice for that long-term joy, for that long-term confidence, and that long-term fulfillment that could literally change your life and others.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah. And my husband, 5 years, you guys, 5 years. All these businesses, our house, our cars, 5 years. That's how long it took. But I will say this. My husband is very smart. He's good with numbers, but he does know how to sacrifice, and he does have discipline. So he was presidents of companies, VPs of companies. So this wasn't like the last 5 years, you know, building
Right.
all it. Like it was 30 years in the making.
Yeah, yeah.
And I say 5 years because when I met my husband, he had gotten a divorce, walked away, left everything except for the clothes on his back and the car that he was driving, and rebuilt it all from there.
Wow.
So that's why I say that.
Sounds to even bigger than it was before. Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that just goes to show you, I mean, it does require sacrifice and that discipline and that perseverance.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's some people with them, if someone could say, well, if it's only going to take me 5 years to be wealthy, I think most people say they would do it, but when they're in it, there's so many things that will talk them out of it. You see what I mean? Life will talk you out of it.
Of course.
You know, people will talk you out of it. And
Of
you just have to
course.
have that perseverance.
Yeah.
And that confidence piece in yourself to keep it going.
Yeah, because when you're in it, it's
You're like looking around like, what the?
And I'm gonna go off a total tangent right now. Relationships. I have a ton of women asking, how do you find a good man? Listen, girls, you gotta do the work on yourself.
Ooh.
And that may mean you being alone
For some time.
for 2, 3,
Yeah.
4. I was pretty much single my entire 30s. I dated here and there. Nothing was too serious. But literally a decade, there was Christmases I was by myself. There was New Year's I was by myself. I used to hate the weekends because I'm like, everybody's going out with their significant others, and here I am reading a self-help book. But
Most of my 20s, I was the single friend.
yeah.
And I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Now I'm the married friend.
Well, what I
and,
feel-
and that's not to knock any of my friends, but I love myself.
Yes.
I genuinely love myself. And I
Yes.
know I'm full of gifts.
Yes.
Does that make sense? And so when I met my partner, I was like, I don't need you. And that's not to knock him,
Amen.
but he loved that about me. Like,
And that's how you attract
You
these
see what I-
really successful men.
mhm.
I know women are always like, well, I want a successful man. Okay, well, yes, you can get the man who likes the trophy wife. Don't get me wrong, there's men out there who like that, but you could be replaced
Yep.
in a
There's
heartbeat.
always going to be someone younger,
And
smarter, cuter,
and all that.
skinnier,
Yeah.
whatever.
So you have to bring a certain level
Yeah.
of confidence and loving yourself and
Mhm.
knowing, I don't need you.
No. And then it's making that conscious choice to build together.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
now we can, because
Yeah.
he doesn't need me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Right.
we can now create whatever we want together.
But I think because
You know?
people don't want to sacrifice to be an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
so many people stay in a bad relationship because they're scared to be alone.
And you're going to be alone on either path.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if somebody's really not getting you and aligning with you,
Yeah.
you're gonna feel like you're alone in a relationship.
Oh, Lord, yeah. You're right.
But
Damn.
yeah, and we'll do a whole nother topic.
I know. We don't have to dig deeper on that one.
But-
Because I didn't recognize there's so many parallels.
Yeah,
Damn.
exactly.
Damn.
So it all goes back to self, and it all goes back to you.
It does.
It really
It
does.
does.
Every question and all these questions that you guys are asking and wanting to know and think, oh, they have it
It all-
together and I don't. It really is within you.
Mhm.
And yeah.
Damn. Damn.
Damn, Gina.
Let's do the work.
That's what I tell 20-year-olds. Just do the work on
Yeah,
yourself.
no, I think it's so. I know you've mentioned this before, but I don't think there's anything wrong with being alone and having fun in your 20s. That is like the time I had a lot of fun.
I would never be with
I
anybody.
traveled. I bought my own house. I did my thing.
Yes.
And I dated. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong. I was looking for a relationship. Well, hold on. For some time, I wasn't. Not that I was running around, but honestly, if I was being honest with myself, I wasn't looking for a relationship.
Right.
I was looking for pipe dreams and more like, but then when I met Zell, I was at the point, I was not 30 yet. I was all getting there.
Yeah.
But I told him on our first date, look, I've had a lot of fun. I'm not looking for fun. I'm looking for something real. So, and I don't know if that's with you, but that's what I'm looking for in terms of how I want to spend my time.
And I love
forward.
the transparency.
Yeah.
I love it.
He says he doesn't remember me saying that, by the way.
Yeah, it does.
But-
something aligned with him. He was like,
Yeah.
okay.
And I know I said it because I said it to guys before him.
Yeah,
he
that
was the
was-
last
that's
one
what
I
you're
said it
saying.
to.
That's what
And-
you're saying on every date.
And I started saying that on dates.
Yes.
And it was filtering people out.
That's
you know
what
what
I
I
was
mean?
doing.
Yeah, I just started filtering people out, and they would run
Run.
for the hills.
Run, girl. And you're just like, okay.
Okay. Yeah, no. I mean, if sometimes I'm like, dang, I saw so much potential. But if I'm being honest, potential ain't reality.
And that's what I tell girls. If
Yeah.
you have a list, because I know everybody does lists, and if there are 2 things that are not on that list, walk away. You have to be willing to walk away. And most people are like, oh, but, trust me, you're gonna get everything on your list and more if you just trust your own process.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And people are like, well, everything was on there except these 2 things. Well, those 2 things are gonna be what break you
And break it
break
down.
y'all up.
Yep.
So
Yep.
now you've wasted more time.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot make that list until you do the work on yourself.
Yep.
That's even more important.
Damn. All comes back.
It all comes back.
It all comes back.
But yeah,
Oh man. Well, we'll have to have like a whole episode dedicated to
we
that,
will.
I think.
Sorry for
Yeah.
going off.
No, I think it'll still be interesting. We'll have to see what people think.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
All
know?
right. Well, just remember, if we're missing anything or if you have any questions,
Yeah.
leave us a comment, send us an email,
Yeah.
and we'll try to address it in future episodes.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in and listening, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.